Hey guys, it's Generalkidd here. How's everyone doing today? So, for today's video, I'm going to be showing you guys where the flood is on installation 07. So, before we proceed further in this video, I do want to give a spoiler warning first, because there will be a few plot details discussed in this video, so be warned before proceeding. Alright, so, if you've finished the Halo Infinite campaign by now, then you probably know that we never see the flood at all in the campaign. They're only mentioned a couple times as being in containment, and there's an enemy worse than the flood, but we're not going to get that for this video. But that doesn't mean the flood still doesn't appear on installation 07, because in the lore, there's supposed to be a lot of flood on this Halo ring. So on this installation, on the second mission, you'll come into this room. This is near where you fight the first boss. It's in the boss room, actually. But before you encounter the boss fight, you need to power up the elevator and clear out the enemies. So in this room, you'll see there's a lot of these silexes that contain, genetic information for all the species that we know about. There's humans, elites, grunts, and so on. But on the other side of this room, where the elevator is for the boss fight, if you go to the opposite end over here, down here there is another hallway, and there's actually one more room in here. And if you come to this room, you will see another Silex that has actually a lot of extra protection around it. And as it turns out, this is actually a Silex containing the flood on this installation. So I do want to thank Lucas Easthope for showing this to me. So big shout out to him. I actually did not even realize this was here, and when he showed it to me, I was actually pretty amazed. I wasn't sure it was a flood infection form at first. And actually it was kind of quite debated apparently around the community about if it is the flood. But thanks to my friend Plaster Crab over at the Halo Archive, he sent me the texture file for this flood Silex. And in the game files, it's called Hologram Stencil UV1 Flood Submax PC, which confirms that it is indeed the flood, and we're pretty sure it's a flood infection form. So the texture by itself is only half of the image. In game, it actually displays the image twice, but then mirrors it, thus giving us the full image that you see here when I merge them back together. And it does look very similar to the flood infection form, and I'm pretty sure it is supposed to be the flood infection form, because I believe the infection forms are the most basic version of the flood, the most common version, the most fundamental version, and thus they would be the version that would be contained by the Forerunners. And we do know in lore that the Forerunners did contain a lot of flood on the Halo rings for study and preservation. But obviously on some Halo rings, the flood managed to break containment, as we've seen in previous Halo games. But yeah, so I didn't actually think we'd ever see the flood on installation 07, but thus we do have the flood here. Now unfortunately, there's no actual in-game models for the flood. We don't actually see the physical flood anywhere. We won't find flood combat forms or infection forms anywhere, or any flood biomass anywhere in the game, as far as I'm aware at the moment. Who knows? There could be more flood Easter eggs hidden throughout. But this particular Easter egg in this semi-hidden room is this Silex containing genetic information for the flood infection form. And I don't think there's anything else in this room, but it does make sense that this is a flood infection form, although it was kind of poorly contained in my opinion. I mean, it wasn't that hard to get into here, and anybody could have stumbled in here and accidentally released the flood infection form. But it does seem to have a lot of extra protection around it, and it does seem to be a lot more important than the other Silexes, because it's isolated from the rest of the Silexes that the Forerunners had in the other room. So yeah, there you guys have it. For all those wondering if we'll ever see the flood in Halo Infinite, well, we don't physically see them, but we do see this Silex that's basically a reference or Easter egg for the flood. But yeah, there you guys have it. That is where the flood is, or at least some of the flood is contained on installation 07. Who knows, maybe in the future, story DLC update for the game, we might see someone release the flood by accident. But only time will tell. But anyways, hopefully you guys found this video to be interesting, and if you did enjoy it, make sure to leave a like, leave your thoughts in the comments, and if you haven't already, make sure to subscribe, and I will see you all next time. Bye guys!